Now, in the DVD era, when Sub-Zero was running the DVD game, Beanie Sigel made a diss record towards his once friend and CEO, Jay-Z, called Average Cat. Now, even though Beanie Sigel was one of the first artists signed to Rockefeller Records, and him and Jay always seemed to have a good relationship, after Rockefeller split, a lot of Rockefeller artists would take to the internet and make diss records expressing their frustrations with Jay-Z. Now, on Jay-Z's Blueprint 3 album, he has a song called Already Home, and on this record, he takes shots at all the Rockefeller artists that had anything negative to say about him. Now, after Already Home was released, Beans will express himself that he felt that Jay-Z was aiming at him and some other state property members on that record. Now, this brings us back to Beanie Sigel's diss record towards Jay-Z called Average Cat. So after Already Home was put out, Beanie Sigel responded with a song called Average Cat where he expressed his frustrations towards Jay-Z. Now, Beans was just saying that Jay-Z never answered none of his phone calls when he was locked up for a year and a day, didn't send him no pictures or come to visit him, and he showed up to one of Jay-Z concerts in the front row. He had the feds come escort him out. Now, Beans also says when he was locked up and he was going to court, the judge asked Jay-Z if they was to release Beans that day to him that day, will he be responsible for Beans? And Jay-Z said no, and they sent him back to jail, and that really hurted Beans' heart. I guess Beans felt like even if he didn't feel he was going to be responsible for him, at least say yeah to the judge so they could let him go from jail. Now, I could see why Jay-Z said he wouldn't be responsible for Beans, because Beans was a wild boy at the time, and you never know when he was going wild out. So Jay probably felt like if he said he was responsible, he would have gotten some kind of trouble or something. But come on, Jay. You can't get in trouble for saying you're going to be responsible for another grown man and they go do something. Now, I mean, if he would have did something wrong, he would have got sent back to jail, not you. So, Jay, you looking shaky about that. I ain't going to lie. Now, after Beans put out his diss record to Jay-Z, you'll see him hanging out with 50, and they put out a song called I Go Off, where 50 Cent was talking crazy about Jay at the end. And, it was kind of a diss record towards Jay. And at this time, we thought Beans was going to sign a G-Unit and him and 50 was going to do some business, because you see they did a few interviews together. They had the record together. And, they never really did no business after this. It kind of just died out. Now, Jay responded to Beans' diss records on a song with Drake called Light It Up. And he basically was saying, like, yo, Drake, this is what they going to do. Try to start beef with you. And, you got to watch out for the traitors. And, he just was coming at Beans indirectly. And this is what Beans had to say about it.
Popping them little slurs on Drake and them records, and I'm gonna tell y'all little something. Y'all keep letting that nigga get on y'all records, and Pop's gonna start coming at y'all little smack out of Drake bitch ass. All y'all, this the Broad Street Bully BC. I have no problem on seeing anybody on site.
Now get in that comment section and let me know what y'all think. Do y'all think that Beans is right for going at Drake for allowing Jay-Z to get on his record and diss him? Or as a newer artist, because at this time, Drake was a newer artist, he ain't really got no say, so he just got to let Jay-Z get on his song and do him. What y'all think? Should Drake be held accountable for what Jay said, or it ain't got nothing to do with him? He just need that verse from Jay. Whatever Jay say is what Jay say. Let me know in the comments section. Now, after Camron signed to Rockefeller, it seemed like a lot of tension would start between the original Rockefeller members and the Dips. And there'll be a lot of shady things being done behind the scenes, from Jay-Z deleting Camron verse off Petey's Crack One for Petey record.
He says he's in the studio playing it, and my verse come on, and Jay say, stop it, erase that shit, and just erase my whole verse.
He's like, yo, stop that shit. Yo, delete that shit.
And Killer getting his revenge and erasing Jay-Z's verse off his Old Boy hit record.
Jay one day was like, yo, I did a little something for you in the studio. Then he had something to Old Boy. I listened to it and I was like, erase that shit.
And even Jay-Z taking Camron Beach, which turned into Jay-Z hit record for H to the Izzo.
He played this beat for me. And I'm like, oh, nah, I want that one. I want that. I said, cool, we gonna work the paperwork out and get this together. 2 weeks later, maybe a week later, I hear, H to the is O, V to the is A.
Now, even though when Jay-Z took Camron beat and used it for H to the Izzo, Cam wasn't signed to The Rock, but you can see why it was always a little tension cooking up once Cam did sign to Rockefeller. And not to mention Memphis Bleak pressing Camron for his funny gestures towards Jay-Z, as I mentioned in a previous video.
I looked Cam dead in his face and told him, yo dog, if it's a problem with Hov, it's a problem with me.
And what made matters even worse between the original Rockefeller members and Dipset was when Dame Dash made Camron vice president of Rockefeller while Jay was on vacation. 2002, Jim Jones announced Cam as the new vice president of Rockefeller while Jay was away on vacation. The industry all but held its breath until Jay's return. There were already rumors circulating that him and Cam weren't getting along. By 2004, Jay had sold his share to label the Def Jam. Now Camron will be on Rap City, and he'll basically explain Dame Dash making him VP of Rockefeller Records without confirming with Jay-Z. And Killer will also speak about Beans getting a bigger position in the future at the label, but only after he get his business together. Now Killer claims his remarks wasn't to throw Beans under the bus about not knowing the business, but he was only repeating what Dame Dash told him, but Beans ain't take it too well. Now supposedly after this interview, Cam will come to Baseline Studio and he'll see Jay, Beans, and Bleak, and Cam will be confronted by Beans.
Hey, so bust it, right? One day, and that's all after the president shit. Like I said, I think that's where shit went bad, that not confirming with Jay about Dame saying make me the president. I went on Rap City and talked about it. Right. And what I said was, you know, Dame, this is what Dame told me, I'll make you president, we're gonna bring Beans along further when he get it together, you know, learn more about the business, yada, yada. So I was repeating what Dame told me. So one day I go on Baseline by myself. Jay had went on vacation or some shit. That's why he wasn't around the office. Right. So I walk in the studio, I'm by myself. It's Jay, it's Beans, it's Bleak.
You know how you walk in the room and you know they was just talking about you?
So I just walk in, music not playing no more, nobody talking. So I'm like, what's up, y'all? Niggas like, nothing. So Beans say, yo, can I talk to you for a minute? We go outside the room. I say, what's up? He's like, yo, bro. He said, please don't make me look bad on TV no more, man, da 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 da. I said, what are you talking about? Right. He said, nah, you talking about I don't know the business and this, that, and the third. I said, yo, I ain't trying to make you look bad. I just was repeating what Dame said. If you feel away, I apologize, but that wasn't my intent to make you look bad. He said, yeah, please, man, because I look crazy.
Now, this is Killer's perspective on how Beans confronted him in Baseline over his remarks that he made on Rap City. Now, when Cam is telling this story, he makes it seem like Beans was passive when he approached him. You get what I'm saying? Like he wasn't aggressive with him. Jump in my comment section and let me know if y'all feel like Cam telling the truth the way Beans confronted him. Do you think Beans was this passive? You know, Beans was a beast at this time, and he got a battery in his back from Jay about what Cam said. You think he was just gonna come passive at Cam? Like Beans was a monster this time. I think Beans probably was a little bit more aggressive in this situation. What y'all think? Let me know in the comment section. I love Killer, but I ain't gonna lie. I don't think Cam wanted no smoke with Beans at this time. You get what I'm saying? But nevertheless, if Beans pressed Camron passive or aggressive, they both spoke like men, and they was able to resolve their issue. Now, in the DVD era, two of the biggest groups in Philly, State Property and Major Figures, would clash. Now, State Property and Major Figures was once cool, and members of their crews even worked on music together with each other. Now, after Beanie Sigel signed to Rockefeller, it said that Major Figures was set to sign with The Rock as well.
Initially, Beanie signed to Rockefeller. Major Figures was supposed to sign to Rockefeller. We got 12 points, man. We would have to sell a quadrillion records to make some goddamn money, man. So I turned the deal down.
Major Figures members Dutch and Spade was also offered a deal at Rockefeller, but they would turn down Jay-Z's offer.
Hov, you was right, and I'm gonna be honest with that. We should have never turned that down because he just didn't offer us a deal. I apologize for being young and not understanding the vision that you had.
Now things will go left with Major Figures and State Property after Young Chris heard lyrics from Spade, and he believed the lyrics was aimed at him. So Young Chris's State Property would go up to the radio station, and Young Chris would take shots at Spade and Major Figures. Now Spado says that he never took shots at Young Chris, so he don't know where that came from. He actually was cool with his older brother and his cousin. But
I put out the Independence Day, the young boy, little Chris, Young Chris felt as though was something on there that he thought was toward him. And he's a nigga I watched grow up from down here. You know what I'm saying? Me and his big brother was friends. Me and his cousin best friends. You know what I'm saying? We from the same neighborhood.
But Spade didn't waste no time getting back at Young Chris. Spade and the Figures would go up to Cosmic Kev and send shots right back at State Property. Now Beans would call into the radio while Major Figures was there, and Beans and Gillie would go back and forth. Now, supposedly after this back and forth on the radio, Beans would run into Gillie while he was with Birdman and his entourage shopping in a store in Philly on South Street. Now, supposedly Beans would see Gillie and grab him out the store and take him outside and hit him with a two-piece combo. Now, Gillie getting hands put on him by Beanie Sigel is a story that's been circulating for years, and Birdman even co-signed this story and actually said that this is the reason he cut Gillie the Kid off.
We was in Philly at a store and we was shopping, and Beanie come in the store, walked him outside, and he had a blicky on him. We all got blickies on us. I got 100 with me. But they grabbed him and brought him outside, and then whoop whoop, and he ain't do nothing. I lost all respect for him, and then I stopped with him.
Now, when Gillie the Kid is asked about this situation, he basically said that Beanie never hit him, and he basically weaved both of the punches.
You know how you know that ain't the truth? Because me and Beanie Sigel cool to this day.
Now, let me know in the comment section if you think Gillie capping. Do you feel like Gillie really got hands put on him by Beans? Or he really ducked and weaved Beanie Sigel punches? Let me know in the comment section if y'all feel like Gillie telling the truth or if he's capping. Now, on a much serious note, a person behind this whole state property and major figures beef lost their life. Now, the person who lost their life was a friend of young Chris and Neef. Now, the friend that was killed was L.A. Now, supposedly, L.A. seen Spado at a festival in Philly earlier that day and attacked Spado. And later on that night, Spado and his homie would see L.A. and L.A. would be killed that night. Now, Spado was charged for this murder and he began his sentence in like 2002, and I believe he did 11 years for this murder. Now, the Young Guns have mentioned L.A. on a Tough Love album a few times, mainly on a song called A Life We Chose featuring Denim. Now, on this record, Chris speaks about L.A. brother being mad about him dying and all that, and that brother actually is Trendsetter Shady. So LA little brother grew up to be Trendsetter Shady, you know, affiliate with OBH and a rapper and somebody out of Philly. Now, this whole situation is sad and very touchy, but thankfully state property and major figures was able to squash their beef and put things behind them. Now, we all know about the legendary beef between Beanie Sigel and Jadakiss. Now, this back and forth with Kiss and Beans all stems back to the late 90s from Styles P dissing Jay-Z on his own tracks and Jay-Z taking shots at Jadakiss and the Lox as well.
You felt the type of way because Jay, he was rushing y'all to go to the studio and record, and that's the reason why you took shots at him.
Yeah, I always felt the type of way that way back then anyway.
He's on the record with R. Kelly. Say he took a shot at you. No, he didn't take a shot at me. Jay took a shot at them.
And this will basically start the whole back and forth with Kiss and Beans, which X would get involved, Styles and Chic, and members of state property like Chris and Neef and Freeway as well. Now, I'm not going into complete details on this situation because I might want to do a full video on Jadakiss and Beanie Sigel beef down the line. But while Beanie Sigel and state property was beefing with Kiss and the Lox, things weren't always just on wax, and it was times things could have went left. Now, during the Lox interview, Styles P speak on a time when him and Beans were on the phone going back and forth, and Styles ended up going and waiting for Beans to come outside to possibly do some harm to him.
I ain't gonna lie, I was outside one day right at the Hit Factory waiting for Beans with something crazy. So we was on the phone, each other privately.
Now it was times in this whole Beans and Kiss, aka State P and D Block beef where it could have gotten ugly, but luckily it didn't. But who y'all felt like won this battle lyrically, Beans or Kiss? Jump in my comment section and let me know who y'all felt got this battle. But anyway, if y'all a fan of these old hip-hop stories, tell a friend and tell a friend about my page. Like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. More content coming, and I'm out. 1.